Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to the mixer. And right off the bat, let me explain why I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt and a beanie, because it's really freaking cold today, you know? It's so cold that you guys might notice that the lighting is a little bit, dank, I mean, I've got my lights on and stuff, but the sky is not looking too friendly right now, it's starting to get a little overcast. I hope the video doesn't look too dark, if it does, I'll try to fix it in post. But the point is that it's gonna rain, and it's really chilly, it's been really cold these past few days, and I think this is the first time ever wearing a beanie for one of these videos on this channel. I look really good, I look like a hipster, I look really nice, and I think I'm gonna use it in the thumbnail too. Yeah, let me know if you guys like this beanie, this style, I might start to wear it a little bit more often here on the channel. But anyway, so now today I'm gonna be talking about something that I have been sitting on for a very long time. Many of the ideas for this channel I just write down and then I just forget about them and I come back to them much later down the road, and I already have enough resources and tools to research and edit them and put stuff together, that I think is going to look really pleasing for you guys. Okay, so now I came up with this idea. I've actually had this idea for a long time, a couple of years, talking about the Hope Diamond. Okay, now in case you guys don't know, the Hope Diamond is something that it's very mysterious in our modern culture because it is said to be cursed. Now in case you guys don't know, my position about curses, hauntings, things like that, I'm a very skeptical guy, so I have to see it to believe it, like the video that I did some time ago talking about James Dean's supposedly cursed car, so I have to see something to believe that it really exists, But in this case, there is so much evidence suggesting that there is foul play here. There is something a little off that I can't really deny it. So I have my little cheat sheet here, and let's talk about the Hope Diamond, okay? Now here's the thing. It's a very much admired rare blue color due to trace amounts of barren atoms. So it is a diamond, but it looks blue because of the different amounts of atoms that are inside of it. Something very scientific that I will get to in more detail later. Now it weighs, this is very strange. So it weighs 45.52 carats, or what is this here? 9.104 grams. Okay, and I don't know what that is. I don't really understand carats, but I guess it's a big deal. I think carats estimates how valuable the jewel is, and it is a fancy dark grayish blue color. GTA, Grand Theft Auto. It's an antique cushion cut. It was originally from India, and the mine that it was picked out from is called the Kohler mine. It was discovered by unknown, cut by unknown, and it has an estimated value right now of, wowzers, between $200 and $350 million. Now that is a fancy jewel, eh? That is a fancy jewel. Now here's the thing, just a little bit of backstory here for you guys, okay? Now the Tavier blue was actually cut and yielded the French blue, Le Bleu de France, as that's actually called, which Tavier sold to King Louis the 14th X I5, yeah, in 1668. Then it was stolen in 1791. It was recut, blah, 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 blah. Then it was given to another family in 1839, blah, 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 blah. And after it was going, let's get to the more modern aesthetic, right? After going through numerous owners, it was actually sold to a Washington socialite who was actually seen wearing it. But anyway, guys, here's the thing. In 1958, that's when it wound up in the Smithsonian Museum. No, the National Museum of Natural History in the United States. Why did I say Smithsonian? Now I have the museum on my mind. So it actually remains there to this day. You guys can actually go and see the diamond for yourself, It's become sort of like a tourist attraction of sorts, which does make sense because whenever humanity is faced with something odd and mysterious, and in this case, potentially dangerous and life-threatening because there's a curse attached to it, let's just go and put it in a cage and make money with it, put it in a glass cage and charge people to come and see it because that's how it works, and here are some photos of the damn thing. As you guys can see, it's actually a pretty handsome little devil, and it's a nice looking jewel, man. I'd love to have one of those around my neck here, even though I'd probably die within 2 or 3 days. But anyways, so there have been many replicas made over the years, but the original true diamond rests in that museum that I told you, and I really want to tell you guys about this next part because I actually have a list here of all of the people who have perished because they have used this diamond in some capacity or have owned it to some degree, and it goes back all the way to 1653. I am not exaggerating. The very first recorded death of somebody who owned this diamond was Jean-Baptiste Tavernier, and he actually, wow, he died in, Well, that doesn't make sense. Oh, okay, so he died at some point much longer after acquiring the diamond. So he died, he was 84, and apparently it was acquired between 1640 and 1667. That's when he got the diamond, but possibly around 53. Then he died in 89. Okay, that sucked. That was not a good example, because these are people who acquired it and then later died of old age. That's stupid. But anyway, 1668, Louis XIV of France, he had a long and prosperous reign, but then he died, you know, in when he was 76. And then in 1722 we had so the damn Louises. Louis the 15th of France, who also died, you know, when he was 64. Stop calling me, I'm busy recording a YouTube video. Go away. Then in 1775 we had another, okay, you know what, screw you goddamn Louis. In 1775 we had Marie Antoinette, who actually died when she was only 37. She was the wife of one of the Louis. And now possibly in 1805 we had King George IV of the United Kingdom. He actually died of when he was 67. It's actually doubtful whether he ever owned it, so I don't even know why this is on the list. But anyway, here's what starts to get really mysterious. In 1812, we had Daniel Eliasson, who was a London jeweler, who he died after having the diamond with him. In 1830, we had Thomas Hope. And then in 1839, there was Henry Philip Hope. You know, I guess he might have been related to Thomas in some capacity, you know. And then in 1861, this one took a while, we had Henry Pelham Clinton, the 6th Duke of Newcastle. You know, he died when he was 85 because of the diamond. We had Lord Francis Hope. He actually he went bankrupt and he was forced to sell the diamond, but then he still died when he was 75. In 1894, we had May Yohe, a musical actress who was divorced and remarried several times, but ultimately died poor. So maybe the diamond had something to do with that. Coming into the next century, we had 1904, Adolf Weil, who was a London jewel merchant. In the same year, Simon Frankel also died because of the diamond. Then we had Salim Habib, or Salom Habib. He was possibly an agent for somebody who was also killed when he had the diamond. Then we had, in the same year, we had the Sultan Abdul Hamid II of Turkey, who actually died. He disposed of the diamond some time before, but it wasn't enough because he still died. In 1909, we had Simon Rosnell. No. In 1910, we had Pierre Cartier, you know, who actually died when he was 86. In 1911, we had Edward Beale McLean and Alan Wash McLean, you know, a couple who was divorced in 1932. The guy actually died of a mental illness, you know, and then she died of pneumonia sometime later. And then Harry Winston in 1947, he died when he was 83. And then he was actually the jeweler who gave it to the museum in the first place. So here we go. So it actually did wind up, see, I was right. It did wind up in the Smithsonian Institute at some point, you know. It was actually in the Smithsonian at one point, and then later it went to this other museum, unless of course they are the same exact ones. I don't even know. The Smithsonian Institution, nope, they seem to be different museums, because Smithsonian is one thing, and now we have here the National Museum of Natural History. Yep, they are two. Oh, wait a second. So the National Museum of Natural History is administered by the Smithsonian Institution, so they're pretty much the same stupid thing. Freaking bastards, man. But anyway, so I think I've rambled on enough about people who died, but the thing is, guys, let me get a little bit more into it now. Let me put this tablet down and take a breather, because oh my god. Now, each one of these people here, they died in a very specific and weird way, because when I was looking it up, I was like, okay, so there are a few things here that don't make a lot of sense, you know, but then again, it depends on how you see. Remember when I said that I'm skeptical and I don't really believe in curses? In this case, I mean, yes, everybody who owned the diamond did eventually die to in some case, but doesn't everyone? Because some of these people died like decades after getting rid of the diamond in the first place. So how can that actually be something credible, you know? But then again, there are stories of people who have perished with the diamond and they died in very horrific ways, you know? Like, there was this one guy who I think was trampled by an elephant, you know, in India. You know, he was trampled to death, and somebody else who got in a car accident, somebody else who had to commit suicide, you know? And it's very weird because it seems like the diamond has some kind of very strange property, you know? It like possesses people. Like here, for example, there was an article in New York Times back in 1911 who had said this. There was a guy named Jacques Collet who bought the diamond, and then he later died by suicide. Another prince who bought it but was killed by Russian revolutionists. Then there was another guy who loaned it to another woman who was murdered by her sweetheart, you know. And then Simon Merchandritis, who had actually sold it to a sultan, but then he was thrown from a precipice along with his wife and young child, and they all died. Then there was another sultan who gave it to somebody else to polish it, but he was imprisoned and tortured. I'm guessing he died from the torture. Then there was a guardian called Kulub Bey who was hung by a mob. Then there was a Turkish attendant who was hung for having it in his possession, just for having the diamond. The guy was hung for no reason. Then that other guy called Tavernier, he actually bought it from a store, but he was torn to pieces by wild dogs in Constantinople. Okay, now King Louis gave it to Madame de I don't know how to say his name, but I'm guessing his mistress, his wife or something, whom later he abandoned and she probably died without him. There was another guy who was an intern of France who actually borrowed it to temporarily wear it, but then he was disgraced, you know, he fell from grace and he died in prison. Then we had a temporary wearer, a princess who was, this one is painful to imagine, torn apart by a mob. Yeah, she was thrown into a mob and people just literally tore her apart with their bare hands, you know. And then there was a jeweler who actually died a ruined man, so I'm guessing he lost his fortune. He died, you know, poor and hungry, you know, starving. And then there was another guy who stole the jewel from his father and he later died by suicide. And then some years later, it was sold to a guy named Francis de Lelou who died in misery and what? Now, here's the thing. So, two little statistics there. First, I read for you guys the ones of people who, of everyone who has had the diamond in their possession and how they died. And now the second one here is how people like met very, very painful deaths, you know, because of this diamond, you know. It's not a very good way to go, in my opinion. Now, whether or not these are the same people, I can't really tell because, I mean, I don't know if they were the same and like I just went into detail of how they died. But the point is that this diamond, wherever it has gone, misery and death have followed, you know. There has not been a single person who hasn't owned this diamond who died in a very horrific way. Now, some people, like I said, they own the diamond and then only years later did they die of old age or pneumonia or something, you know. So not every death is horrible, you know, horrific. But a lot of them are still suspicious. There are enough unexplainable deaths, but just enough to make it suspicious, in my opinion. Now, the story of the Hope Diamond has always fascinated me, if that is the proper word to use in this context here, simply because it's so inexplicable, you know. I actually enjoy things that can't be explained, you know, because I like researching them, you know, and trying to understand and study and trying to kind of piece together something that makes sense, you know. And if I can manage to do that, I always come on YouTube and record a video for you guys, you know. And I don't know what you're gonna think about this video if you guys don't think it had enough information, you know, but I think it's a really interesting story, you know, because it is something, an inanimate object that is just there. It doesn't move. It only goes from place to place if somebody else manipulates it. And every single time somebody has manipulated it, they have died, you know. And many of the times it was in a very grotesque and random manner, you know. So it's very strange because it's almost like there's something attached to the diamond, you know, like a supernatural force that we can't see or understand. But like it was forged in a way that maybe there was voodoo involved, there was a witch doctor present who maybe cursed the thing, you know, but I don't believe in curses. But the idea of curses does interest me, you know, and I hope I never piss off a witch doctor or something, because even though I don't believe in curses, I don't want to provoke somebody who does, you know, like if somebody tells me that they know how to put a curse on me, I'm not going to provoke them, you know. I'm not going to believe that it's possible, but I'm also not going to provoke it just to see if it happens, you know. Like I said, I'm skeptical, but I'm not like so curious to the point of actually trying to figure it out for myself if it's really possible. So I'm totally fine in terms of that, guys. But anyway, depending on what you think about it, you know, if you guys think that this video is actually, I hope the video wasn't cursed. If you think the Hope Diamond has any cursed appeal to it, let me know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a like if you happen to enjoyed it. If it seems like it's a little rushed, you know, I'm sorry, you know, I'm actually a little nervous because it's clearly about to rain, guys, and I hope that the water doesn't come into my house, you know, so I'm a little worried right now. So sorry if I sound a little distracted, but I still think that the diamond, I mean, right now it is in the Smithsonian Institute, it's in the museum, and to this day, since 1958, it has remained intact. So I don't know, maybe it was just a matter of like displaying it. Like the people who had it in their possession, they were using it for something, you know, they were wearing it, you know, displaying it around. But maybe like if you just put it somewhere where nobody touches it, nobody disturbs it, maybe that's it. Maybe that's the trick to it, you know. Maybe that's why the museum to this day has never crumbled or something. So that's just my personal theory, you know. But it's really, really interesting how exactly this diamond works and the properties that it possesses, you know. And it's cool to think about something like this happening, you know, like an inanimate object, you know, really like causing so much misery to people around it, you know. It's almost like Annabelle. There's something attached to it, you know. But anyway, I think that's it, guys. So if you happen to like this video, subscribe to my channel because I release videos literally every single day, sometimes one, sometimes two, about all different kinds of topics, and hit the notification bell to know exactly when they're going to be coming out because I release them at random times of the day. You never know what time my video is going to be coming out, so it's good for you to stay updated, alright? So that's it, guys. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video.